You see, the WWF has always been all about the Great White Hope.
What? Great White Hope? Remember that?
And I'm talking about such people as Buddy Rogers, people like Bruno Sammartino, people like Bob Backlund, people like Hulk Hogan. And now, people like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
If you're sensitive, you might not want to listen to this video right now. But let's get into it. Black wrestlers that should have been world champion. We're starting off hot with
For he is limitless.
how in the world does Keith Lee not become world champion in the WWE? How do y'all let a talent like Keith Lee go to AEW? Keith Lee had the walk, he had the talk, he had the style, he had the grace. He could wrestle with anybody. He was believable. Do I need to remind you of him in Survivor Series 2019? He went toe-to-toe with the face of the company at the time in Roman Reigns. Toe-to-toe with him and almost beat him to become the sole survivor of Survivor Series representing NXT. Need I remind you, in NXT, he became world champion by beating Adam Cole, becoming a double champion, owning both the North American and NXT World Championship. And he looked, felt, and was a world champion in NXT. What's the difference between NXT and the main roster? Because he moved to the main roster, and in one of his first nights, he beat Randy Orton. Randy Keith Orton. Or is it Randall? Is it Randall Keith Orton or Randy? Yeah, Randall Keith Orton. Outside a little wardrobe difference, he was believable. I know he had a health scare here and there, but outside of that, you had the pure story to make Keith Lee a WWE World Champion in late 2020 or early 2021, and you blew it. Oh, bask in his glory. The next black wrestler that should have been a world champion.
Ain't no stopping me, nah. You can't rock with me, and I'ma bring it to you. You can't rock with me. Watch I give it to you. You can't rock with me. So let them sing it to you. Ain't no stopping me, nah.
A guy that just celebrated 20 years in the company, Shelton freaking Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin is probably the most purest world-class athlete the WWE has ever seen. To this day, he has done things in that ring that has never been seen before. From his Money in the Bank matches to his athleticism in the ring. People to this day still talk about his match he had with Shawn Michaels. Now, I know it's Shawn Michaels, but it's still a match on Raw, a random Raw, that people still talk about to this day with maybe the greatest super kick of all time, with Shelton Benjamin flying off the top rope. But he has memorable matches. Even a year prior to that, in 2004, he beat Triple H 3 times. 3 times! Before Shelton even became established as a true singles wrestler, just leaving the world's greatest tag team, he beat Triple H 3 times. Think about that. So he's able to go toe-to-toe with Shawn Michaels, beat Triple H 3 times, but can't win one WWE World Championship? Make it make sense. Even if you do Bobby become a world champion eventually again, and do him and Shelton. You have all the opportunity in the world. You can do it if they want to. Because ain't no stopping him now. And in the same vein of Shelton Benjamin, the next black wrestler that should have been the world champion.
I'm ready to shine. Yeah. I want my close up, baby. Yeah. Yo, here we go.
Elijah Burke. I'm gonna say it again. Elijah Burke. Now this one I really can't wrap my head around. Elijah had the walk, he had the talk. Sling, yeah, and I see a Punk how he feels about Elijah Burke. Wrestling, he's sometimes hit and miss, but he's a solid wrestler for the most part. And I don't understand how you did not make him even an ECW champion. Like, how did you not do that? I know he has the injury, he's injury prone, but he's no different from, hell, Edge is injury prone. You can't tell me that, or Randy Orton's injury prone. You can't tell me that one time in his career he could have been a world champion. I think Elijah Burke could have easily, instead of making John Morrison CM Punk's rival in ECW when CM Punk became world champion, that should have been Elijah Burke. And then from that, you have Elijah Burke go to Raw, SmackDown, preferably SmackDown, and become world champion during that time. I mean, hell, from 07, 08, it was anybody's ball game. The World Championship was centered around only 3 people: Undertaker, Batista, and Edge. That was the whole 07, 08. Undertaker, Batista, and Edge. Undertaker, Batista, and Edge. Like, God damn, can we get something different? I think sometime within 07, 08, you could have put the title on Elijah Burke. Maybe in the, let's see, the summer of 08. Who was the champion in 08? Who was it? Edge? No, they made CM Punk cashing his money in the bank. Sometime during in there, you could have had Elijah Burke. Look what Elijah did in TNA. For guys that are TNA fans, you know what I'm talking about. Just look up the Black Pope, or look up the Pope, Elijah Burke. It might not be the Pope. There was D'Angelo De Niro. He screamed. Even TNA couldn't see it. I'm like, how do you not make this guy the world champion? Just look up D'Angelo De Niro in TNA. He had everything. He screamed money. He screamed world champion. I don't know how you do not have D'Angelo De Niro beat AJ for the world title instead of RVD. But that's the TNA ring. But he had everything. He saw it when he was able to flourish in TNA. He had it. He doesn't all of a sudden get it. He been had it. D'Angelo De Niro, the Pope, Elijah Burke. He was money. He might not have been the greatest wrestler, but it's not always about being the greatest wrestler. It's about being if you would get the people engaged, you get the people involved, you can get people intrigued about who you are. That's what it's about. It's about the character. It's about putting butts in the seats. And Elijah did that, especially in his TNA run. You can see it for yourself. And with the WWE machine behind him, I don't think he could have failed. Unless WWE wanted him to fail. And that's the truth. Because the Pope, I forget what was his catchphrase? I don't know what his catchphrase was. He was the Pope, and he was dope. Let's crank it up. Let's crank it up. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. You look at this, and you look at that, and you look at this, cause this what's up, what's up? Oh God, that song is like, that's forever gonna be lit. All right, what was I talking about, son? Oh yeah. So, R-Truth, bro, you had a perfect opportunity when he made him. I'll never forget. He had to smoke a cigarette, and the way he did it was just like crackhead in Tennessee, like Samuel Jackson and Jungle Fever, like they really had R-Truth. They really had R-Truth smoke a cigarette after a match, like. You give R-Truth anything, he can make it work. He can make it work, man. And you can't get me to not believe. You cannot make me not believe that he could have been world championship material. For the past 10 years, R-Truth is must-see TV, bro. I don't care what he's doing. I don't care if he's wrestling. I don't care if he's putting on a costume. I don't care if he's dancing. I don't care if he's 24/7 champion. I don't care if he's going into the wrong matches, thinking it's the ladder match to the Royal Rumble. I don't care what it is. He's must-see TV. He always entertains. He puts a smile on your face. And that guy, you can make a world champion if you treat him serious. Let's not forget, before it was R-Truth, it was Rod Killings, who was one of the first TNA world champions. That's the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Now, speaking of the truth, another black wrestler who should have been a world champion. It's a new day, yes it is. Xavier Woods, bruh. Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods might be the smartest wrestler in the history of wrestling. Like, no disrespect to like Yolani Poffo of the worlds, but Xavier Woods might be the smartest wrestler we've ever had. I mean, all you gotta do is just check his degrees. He actually has a PhD. And just look what he did with Up, Up, Down, Down. He created a whole new world on YouTube with a gaming channel, and he made it must-see TV, must-see 2V. He made it an entity that everybody loves, everybody's intrigued by, everybody's engaged. Every wrestler, from your heels to your faces to your legends to your old timers, to your new up and coming guys, he gets everybody involved. He unites everyone. I mean, Up, Up, Down, Down. From Uno with the party. I mean, he's just a mastermind, dog. Xavier is a mastermind, and I'm not even talking about his New Day, which he helped create. The New Day was helped create and help mold to what it is today and what it became. I mean, Xavier has it all, man. You can talk about him not having the size, but at the end of the day, when the people love you, when the people are engaged, you don't care about that. The guy can wrestle. The guy can talk. The guy can play a trumpet, bro. He can play a trumpet, a tuba, whatever you call it. Francine, man. I mean, come on. How did you not capitalize on that guy? You made him king of the ring, which I'm so glad they did. Roman Reigns versus Big E as Survivor Series champion versus champion. Do Xavier versus Big E at Survivor Series and have him beat him. And then if you just want to have it for a couple months until you want to have Brock Lesnar whoop him, because that seems to be the thing when we have a black world champion. You want to have Brock Lesnar go in there and whoop him. Bitch, by the way, still really bothers me. I still feel a way about the Kofi Kingston reign. 8 seconds? 8 seconds? 8 seconds, dog. 8 seconds? He was champion for, 7 months? 6 months? And you had him lose the title in 6 seconds or 8 seconds? And what's worse is you did it to promote a match with a UFC fighter. Oh, I'm sorry, a retired UFC fighter. You took the title off a guy that earned it, that deserved it, that was doing a damn thing on SmackDown, only to build up to a match in what, Saudi Arabia, to an ex-UFC fighter? Are you serious? And then they did the same thing with Big E. You had him lose the title. You had him lose the title on day one? And then he never even did his rematch. Explain how you don't do the rematch of Big E and Brock Lesnar. I don't know if they even had a match. That's a money-making match. How do you not do that? They should have done Bobby and Brock at WrestleMania. Do Big E and Brock in a rematch at Royal Rumble, have Bobby win the Royal Rumble, and have him face Brock at WrestleMania. That's what should have happened instead of Roman and Brock 3,004 times. But I hate how they treat, for some reason, now it's not just a black thing, it's a me kick your ass thing. I just want to bring The Rock, I had to bring The Rock in there somehow. I had to shoot him in there. But I don't understand how you do not have, something with black wrestlers, something with black world champions, you don't have them do the rematch clause. You have him lose the world title. Even with Bobby, you had him lose the world title, and he didn't even get pinned for it. Something about black world champions, they screwed them over. Oh my God. But yeah, Xavier had a perfect opportunity when he was king of the ring to feud with Big E and take the world title from him and tell that story. Right? And you can always turn Xavier back face again if you want to, because it's Xavier. He can always get over because he's Xavier. Why? Because New Day rocks. On to the next black wrestler that should have been a world champion.
And I'll tell you what time it is now. It's time for Farouk to become the World Wrestling Federation champion. And speaking of that, let me ask you a long-awaited question. When was the last time that the World Wrestling Federation had a black man to wear that belt? Can you answer that for me? Answer that question. No.
Never.
No, you can't answer that. No longer are we marching up and down the street wearing our shoes. No longer are we calling radio stations complaining. We are taking matters into our own hand. When I get to swinging these fists and kicking these feet, you understand that, don't you?
We are the nation of domination. Boom, 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 boom. Nation of domination. Farouk, bruh. Farouk, let me understand this. Farouk became a world champion in a southern organization called the WCW. He was able in 92 to become the first ever, mind you, black world champion ever in professional wrestling. In 92, it took them to 92 to do it, which is still shame on you, wrestling. Shame on y'all. Shame on y'all. It took you to the 90s to make your first black world champion? Really? When all your major athletes, big athletes were black, from your Magic Johnsons to your Muhammad Ali's to your Mike Tyson's to your Deion Sanders. But yeah, he became a world champion in 92. You mean to tell me they brought Ron Simmons, who eventually became a gladiator. They made Ron Simmons a world-class athlete, a collegiate champion, a legit badass mother plucker. They made him a gladiator? And thankfully, somebody said, well, this ain't working. And it made him Farouk. But, by the way, since we're talking about it, Nation of Domination, great organization, great party. No. Nation of Domination, a great faction, which I still low-key feel away about how they started it. Even though I was not watching wrestling at the time, doing my research on this specifically, I do not like having, what was it, Public Enemy or 911, something like that, sing him down to the ring, and then have Crush, RIP to them, not crushing them, be part of faction. No, if you're going to lean in, lean all the way. If you're going to be controversial, be all the way controversial. That should have been, at the beginning of the faction, it should have been fully black. Yes. Yes, I said it. I just told y'all watch Malcolm X today. You think I ain't had time? Yes, you make it a fully black organization. The whole point of the goddamn faction was Farouk saying, y'all refuse to let certain type of people become world champion. Y'all have yet to have a black world champion in your company, and it's 1997. What does that say about y'all? And Vince going up here talking about, I don't know what you're talking about, pal. We create opportunity. You just so have no, you don't. They're good enough to be maybe a sideshow. They're good enough to maybe contend, but not good enough to win. And that's a shame on y'all. That's a shame on you, Vince. That's a shame on the management. That's a shame on creatives. That's a shame on y'all. So I don't know how you do not you have Farouk do all that and then still don't make him world champion. Now you could say, well, the Miz eventually The Rock world champion. That's not the point. The Rock is a once in a lifetime superstar. But at that particular moment, you proved Farouk right. You proved Farouk right when he said that you have not had any black world champions, and you not give them opportunity. And I'm not talking about Ahmed. I'm not Ahmed Johnson? Ahmed Johnson? No, with all due respect to him, no, that wasn't it, Chief. Bad News Brown, all due respect to him, that wasn't it, Chief. No, like somebody, I gave you the credentials of Farouk. How do you not have Farouk in 97? Let's say after WrestleMania, contend for the world title, face Undertaker in May or June, win the world title, and then see what he does with it. If you go full, imagine, you know what always bothered me is I always hear about how Eddie stayed on SmackDown, became world champion for the Latino market. Same thing with Rey Mysterio. Jinder Mahal became world champion for, I believe, the Indian market. Khali became world champion for the Indian market. Shinsei became world champion for the Asian market, whatever. Yet they never talk about the black market. We're still a minority, people. I know we're in America, but we're still a minority. It would mean something to us if you gave us a black world champion. But not gave us, but Farouk earned it. He had the ability. He wasn't the greatest wrestler, no. He's an old school brawler, knocking your mouth type of wrestler, but you still had that. He was real. Farouk was real. This is during the Attitude Era. This is about real. And like I said, Farouk was a legit badass. You have Farouk do all that to end up being a guy that just says damn, which he's still a Hall of Famer, but end up being a guy that just said damn all the time. Meanwhile, his partner in APA, Bradshaw, became a world champion. Explain that to me. Never in a million years could you have told me that when Farouk left Nation of Domination, went to the ministry, then went to APA and started the Acolytes, and started APA with Bradshaw, would he have a partner that would be world champion? Bradshaw. Bradshaw became W world champion for 10 months? Bradshaw. Not JBL, Bradshaw. You mean to tell me all Bradshaw had to do was get a haircut and become a conservative? And all of a sudden, he's a world championship material? That's what we call, ladies and gentlemen, white privilege. All he had to do was shave his face, bleach his hair, wear suits, and go conservative and become racist, by the way. Lean into being racist, and you made him your world champion. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But Farouk could at least get one world title. Man, get out of my face. What Farouk say again? Damn.
Can you dig it, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker?
Can you dig it, sucker? Booker T. Booker T. I know everybody and the mama. Everybody in my mama, your mama, his mama, her mama, all know Booker should have beat Triple H at WrestleMania, bruh. We all know that. The only people that didn't know that was Triple H. No, Ric Flair told him, well, you should know that. He said, well, you didn't tell him all that dumb shit. How do you not have Booker? In the racial undertones is what really pissed me off about him losing for a lot of people. That's why people are pissed off about that angle going to WrestleMania 19. You told the story of Triple H saying, people like you do not become world champion. And you try to insult our tongues by saying, oh, I meant WCW, ex-WCW wrestlers don't become world champion. No, you didn't. You were saying black people don't become world champion. The vignettes you were doing when having him telling Triple H in the bathroom and him telling Booker T to go wash up, help him get a rag for him so he can wash up. Like, we remember that. So you did all this only to have Booker lose and lose badly? Like, oh my God. Horrible. Terrible, man. Terrible. Horrible. Terrible. Nah, man. But that ain't the only time. He should have definitely won at WrestleMania 19 and beat Triple H to become World Heavyweight Champion. I would have loved to see what he could have did with it. He never had he's mentioned previously, he never had a program with Shawn Michaels. That would have been dope. You could have had a feud with, who knows? You could have had a feud with up-and-coming Randy Orton and Benoit. You had all kinds of opportunities and new feuds and things that we never got because you had to keep it on Triple H so he could fight all his buddies. Oh my God, you're shortchanged Booker T so much. Thank God that he created King Booker. Who knows what his career would have been like if he didn't decide to change things up and say, you know what, these guys, for whatever reason, creative people backstage do not like Booker T. Let me change it up, switch it up, and create something new. Thank God he did, because he did finally become a world champion again in WWE. At the time, didn't appreciate it, but looking back on it, Booker T was so entertaining, so creative, so funny, but yet you can still take him serious. Like the accent, the dance, the new theme song. Oh, hail King Booker! And it's my Queen Charmel. It just that was gold, bruh. Gold. And he should have more of it. Should have more of it. If you didn't have your heads up your asses, WWE, Vince. Now can you dig that, sucker? Now, before I go into the last guy, let me say the WWE has improved tremendously over the past, let's say, 3 years of having black world champions. Kofi Mania started something that they didn't even know they started. Even though they stumbled upon it because of an injury, Kofi winning the world title in WrestleMania 35 is probably my favorite moment of my entire wrestling fandom. Because I not only got to saw it in person, but I actually got to see a full-blooded black world champion, WWE champion live and in living color. And it's something that will never be taken away from me. And it's somebody that earned it, that deserved it. And after following Kofi Kingston You had your Bobby Lashley a few years after that. Then following that, you had your Big E, his New Day brethren after that. Y'all have been getting better, right? But there's one guy that I just can't figure out how he never became world champion. Like I play it back in my mind. I watched the previous Raws and SmackDowns. I'm like, I have no clue how the entire hell he never became a world champion. And the guy I'm talking about,
One, two, you hear the clock ticking, tick tock. You about to stop living, tick tock. I want you to remember me, tick tock. But the day don't have no memory. I'm coming.
it's Martel Vontavious Porter. I don't even know where to start with Envy. He has. If we would in 2006, 2007, I was fully convinced he was going to be the Rock of a new generation. He was going to be the guy of a new generation. Whether that was on SmackDown, whether that was on Raw, bruh, he oozed charisma. He felt like a world champion. Big things popping, little things stopping. He was a big deal. A big deal. He went toe-to-toe with any wrestler that you wanted him, from your Chris Benoit's to your Matt Hardys to your Takers to your Kanes. He could work with anybody. He could talk anybody into the building. He wore the flashy suits to the jewelry. He looked like $1 million. How do you not make MVP a world champion? I know that he had that little incident in 2008 to where he went on a losing streak, but he eventually got back in the good graces of management, turning face, and you still don't make him the guy in 2009, 2010. You gonna tell? It's like MVP, no disrespect to everybody I named on this list, but MVP, I believe, out of everyone, had it all. Had it all. Do you hear me? Had it all. Had it all. Had it all. Had it all. MVP had it all. Do you understand me? MVP, Martel Vontavious Porter, was a special attraction. You could have made your world champion for the next 10 years. You could have been a transcendent superstar, megastar, like your Randy Ortons, like your Edges, like your Batistas, like your John Cena's. He had that type of talent. How do you screw that up? How do you drop the ball? Just fucking swagger became a world champion before an MVP? Nigga? What? Serious? He had all the tools, man. He had it all. He had all the ability, all the talent. He for sure should have won. He could have won Money in the Bank in 2008. He could have won in 2009. He could have won in 2010. Like, I could give you a scenario of any time he could have won Money in the Bank. Anytime he could have been world champion on Raw or SmackDown. Like, you had MVP is the most wasted opportunity, most missed opportunity, I think, in the history of WWE in terms of pure talent that should have been a world champion, man. And I stand on that. I stand on that. Why? Because MVP is straight balling. To watch WWE for such a long time, and it really wrestling for a very long time, for me it's been almost 25 years, and only had a handful of guys that were Black world champion. It's kind of, you don't notice it until you notice it, right? And it's kind of like, damn, we really haven't had, I know we have The Rock, but we really haven't had representation like that. But like, not really. And it's crazy to think that in 2023, we've only had what, like maybe four Black World Champions, from Rock to WWE World Champion. I mean, Mark Henry, but it's not. You can count maybe on both hands Black World Champions. That's crazy to think about. You know, if you could do this on both hands. Oh, well, Booker, Mark, Rock, Biggie, Bobby, Kofi. So you might have a couple fingers on the other hand, but it's crazy to think about, right? Now, once again, this ain't no affirmative action type of deal, but guys that have pure talent and that guys who had stories that you could have told, because that's what Vince says, right? We tell stories, ha ha ha, right? There's a lot of stories you left on that canvas, man. A lot of stories that you could have told that you missed because you had your eye off the ball. Swing and a miss by Mr. McMahon. But let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all the things are the things. We are the nation, the domination. I'm black and I'm proud. RP MLK, RP Malcolm, RP all our black legends and kings and queens. Welcome to the high, bitch.
And if you're not down with that, Philly's